Welcome to the Winning Edge podcast, where we share focus, fueling, and faith-filled stories and strategies to give young athletes the tools they need to become the best version of themselves as athletes and individuals.
What you eat and how you think can transform your athletic performance and overall well-being. Whether you're an athlete, coach, or fitness enthusiast looking to gain that mental edge and optimize your health, this podcast is for you. We are your hosts. I'm Lindsay, former collegiate athlete, coach, educator, and educational coach for over 20 years, and a mom of 2 young athletes.
And I'm Stacy, registered dietitian nutritionist of over 18 years and a mom of 2 young athletes.
I'm so excited today because our guest is one of my closest friends who is an absolutely incredible mom, wife, and coach that has made a huge impact on the lives of so many girls in her hometown through her dedication and her passion for supporting student athletes and more specifically, softball players. Lauren served as the varsity head coach for 9 years, leading the team through seasons marked by discipline, development, and highly competitive success. Lauren's approach emphasized both skill building and teamwork, helping the players excel in district matches and tournaments. This season ended with an incredible 26-1 record, where the Yellow Jackets went 9-0 in district play. Not only did they win the district title and have an incredible 16-game winning streak, they also won the area championship and had an impressive run into the 2A regional semifinals, where they put up a heck of a fight against Crossroads. Lauren and her coaching team was named Coaching Staff of the Year. Lauren is also a member of the 100 Wins Coaching Club, sitting at 103. And while she may be going on a little high school coaching break, I highly doubt that she will stay out of the high school coaching world long term. Lauren, welcome to the podcast, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for that awesome introduction. I feel very honored to be here. I have watched you and your partner, develop this span athletics from the very beginning to where it was just a thought, and to where you are now with your book and with, your athlete's prayer journal. And I'm just super pumped for you and super honored to be here.
Thanks. Well, I'm so excited. I think that your love and dedication to coaching softball players from all ages up it's remarkable. It's inspiring. And so I definitely wanted to have you come on here because not a lot of coaches do what you do with the amount of time that you put in outside of just coaching the high school sports. It's a lot that you do for the community.
For sure.
So, Lauren, I think one of the most impressive things about you is that you have done so much for the high school team and you have dedicated your life to coaching, yet you still manage to coach your own daughters and their softball teams. And as if that introduction isn't impressive enough, it isn't touching on how you and your husband, Charlie, have poured into the community and supported the development of youth softball by creating a tournament team that's made up of a lot of girls from your own town. And so before I jump into the big questions that I have for you, what led you into coaching softball?
Yeah, so obviously I grew up playing it. It was, my heart and soul from the time I could hold a ball. When I graduated, I decided not to play, collegiate level. Kind of thought I was burned out and over it, and it took only a few short months to realize that I was absolutely not over it. So really looking at career-wise for me, what could I do to still be involved in that realm, as not the player. So obviously a coach comes up. In the town where I'm at, softball, just like me, people live and breathe it, and it's not just a player's mindset, it's a community's mindset. So just being able to give back, everything that the coaches in the school gave to me was really something that I was interested in, and I was lucky enough to get that opportunity. So the last 9 years have really made a big impact on me.
Yeah, and you've made a huge impact on the teams and on the players as well. Tell me about why you created the select softball team that you have, Texas Hold'em.
So just from being able to, coach the last 9 years, everyone's obvious goal is to win a state championship. And over those last 9 years, I kind of, saw like, hey, we are lacking a little bit. And where was that? Was it our girls aren't playing enough? Are they not seeing the field enough? Are they not getting, high quality coaching? So with knowing that my personal girls, I have 2 girls that are going to play for Alto one day, how can we bridge that gap? And so we were already playing tournament ball, and my husband and myself were both pouring ourselves into girls, but not necessarily into the girls that were going to make the impact that we needed on our school and our community. So we were like, hey, we play, with these girls during the spring. What could we do to, like I said, bridge that gap? So we were like, hey, let's make a tournament team based out of Alto. And we were kind of nervous because it's like, who wants to drive to a little 1,200 population, one, red light town to join a team? But we had so many people come out for tryouts. And so that's kind of where it started. And we're about half and half of people from, and then girls from surrounding areas. But with those girls from surrounding areas, a couple of them have already moved into our school, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
So like I said, just getting the girls playing more and getting that high quality coaching year round, or maybe not even year round, but more than 3 months out of the year. We knew that's what we needed to take us to the next level. So that's kind of why we did it.
I love it. You're such a problem solver too, You've always been like that. You have girls that practice together, go to school together, spend most of their weekends together throughout the year with fall ball and spring ball, which really becomes summer ball too. And that's a lot of time to grow as a team and a lot of time for potential conflict, right? With young. So how do you foster teamwork and positive communication for your players?
Yeah, I would definitely say your teams become your family, because obviously we all know if you're in the tournament realm that you spend majority of your time, your weekdays, your weekends with the people, that you're playing with. It hasn't necessarily been a problem yet. I'm not saying that it won't, but just really fostering that positive, role model and behavior, and just say, hey, like, there is going to be conflicts. There are going to be times where we don't agree, or there's something that's happened, outside of practice, outside of games, whether it be in the classroom or at a friend's house over the weekend. And just say, like, hey, even if something is going on, once you step into, this fence, once you cross those lines, like, that doesn't matter anymore. Like, we're a family here, regardless of what you are outside of it. So that's how we go about it. And, we don't let the girls talk bad to each other. Positive criticism, like, we're never going to talk down to them. Like, we're always going to speak, how you would want to be spoken to.
Yeah.
So
I think that makes a huge impact. And a lot of times coaches that go into coaching, it's not necessarily with that mentality, right? Or they don't have that experience. But you having been such a standout athlete throughout school, and then you're an educator at heart. You were a classroom teacher, you were a special education teacher. Your ability to communicate to kids it's so incredible. I think one of my favorite things about my friendship with you has been watching you just evolve into the leader and this light for people that you are. And so you coaching to me is it's phenomenal. It's next level.
well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's not always easy.
No, it's definitely not easy. No, but you do an incredible job with it. I want to talk to a point that you brought up earlier about, like your community is softball. Like the town of Al backs their athletes. High school sports often reflect the heart of the community, or they become the heart of the community. So from your perspective, how does the involvement that Alto gives impact the mindset and the motivation for your student athletes?
Yeah, so I would say, just like with your family, if you come from a family who you don't have support from or encouragement from, or they don't show up and they don't, they're not there for you, it's obviously hard. So it's going to be the same with the team. I think when you're playing for not just yourself, so not only are you, playing for your team, but you're playing for a community that expects a lot, but they also do what it takes, to get you to that next level. So Alto has been and always will be one of the most supportive, communities, whether it's athletics, no matter what it is, inside of school ball, outside of school ball. Our community is just really big. And if you've ever watched live any of our games, or if you've ever been an outsider come, and not just softball, it's every sport across the board, we're always going to have a large crowd. They're always going to be, loud and excited. And it just makes you feel good when you have people there, to watch and support, and they love you and you want to do good. You want to do a good job.
I agree. Alto is definitely something special. You made a really big decision the end of last season. I know that was really emotionally draining on you too, but you made a decision to step away from not only coaching high school, but education as well, and pursue something different. And we always tell our kids, and I know you tell the girls, do things that scare you, take risks, like chase opportunity. And you did that. But I do want to ask, what does it look like for you having been in the classroom for so long? What does it look like when a school goes beyond just supporting the team and really invest in their student athletes?
Yeah, I would say, there's a lot of different answers to that, but outside of, just the support within the actual sport, or within the actual team. Just creating those bonds with my players. So, now I'm getting invitations to weddings and to baby showers, and I'm taking, former students and athletes out to lunch and, checking in on them. Hey, how are your classes? How's college going? What has anything changed? Any big news? So I don't know. I mean, I just think there's so much more that goes into being a coach and, being a role model. It's so much more than just in the moment, in the practice, in the game. Like, my job never ended at 5 or at 9 when we're done for a game. There's been so many times where I get a phone call at 11 p.m. or, midnight, like, hey, Coach Reid, I really need to ask you something, or hey, I need advice. I'm not sure how to bring this up to my parents, or I just think just supporting your athletes outside of your role as just a coach, because you're never just a coach.
Absolutely. How do you handle, or how did you handle the demands of not only being a head coach and a classroom teacher, but being in special education?
Yeah, so I feel like special education and coaching kind of go hand in hand, because just like, your athletes, you coach, not all of them are coached the same. Like, if you only have one coaching style, you're never going to, appeal to a large group of athletes, right? Some people take talking to differently, the way you approach, the way you, manage your players is differently. So I think special education is kind of the same thing. Like, your kids are all on different levels. There's so much, differentiation that you've got to have involved. And so really those went hand in hand to me, like being in the classroom, special education classroom, and on the field. They were they were the same.
So I want to talk about more with your community, because that's kind of our focus with this podcast. Because I don't think a lot of people, first of all, there are more cows in Alto than people.
For
There,
sure.
again, there's one blinking light in town, the four-way. It's a very rural community, and not all of our listeners could understand that or put that into perspective if they've never experienced it. So I do want to talk and focus on the community part, because it's just so different there. It's so powerful. I lived there. I absolutely loved it. But can you give an example of when community and fan support made a defining impact on student athletes at Alto?
Yeah, so I feel like it's few and far between that you deal with death and grief, outside of your family and your friend circles. In our little bitty town, like I said, 1,200 population, within the last 10 years, we've actually had, 2 student athletes pass away, more or less, on the field in the middle of a game. So to even have one happen is crazy, it's unthinkable, and so to have 2 it's unbearable. It's, how do you get past that? Because the PTSD just from it happening once, it's always on the back of your mind. Like, could that ever happen again? There's no way that could ever happen again, and it happened again.
Yeah.
So I can specifically remember the last time it happened. We were actually in the middle of a softball game on the field coaching, and we had some basketball games going on as well. And where our softball field is relative to the gym, we can see all the cars coming, and we saw an ambulance, and we saw some police officers. So it kind of starts registering like, hey, something's going on. What is it? At that point, you're just trying to keep your athletes like engaged in the game, like, hey, we'll figure it out. It'll be okay. And shortly after that, I got word that there had been an incident, again, just a few yards away in the basketball gym. And so at that point, we called the game, and we had to gather the girls. And at that point, it wasn't just our team anymore. We had literally hundreds of people gathered around in a circle, praying, holding each other's hands. And ultimately, he did pass away. And so I feel like I don't know where else that could have happened, where you had the support you did during the middle of it, after it. But I can tell you that our community is resilient, and I feel like there's no way the athletes, the parents, the families, there's no way we could have got through it without each other. So that was very, very impactful, but just good to have the people you do.
Yeah. You'll definitely rally around one another. And, when you think about the student athletes, they're small classes. Your graduating class is 65 or less. And so when you lose an athlete, that affects not just the entire athletic department, that affects the entire grade level, the entire campus, the entire community, because it is small. And I think leading players through that situation, you have to have a very strong mindset and a very, very faith-based heart to gather your kids and get them through. Because when that happened for you, that was the start of y'all season, really.
Yeah, when you're in that moment, or in that time, like time doesn't stop. It doesn't, life literally has to go on. And so knowing that, hey, we still have more games to play. We still have a season to go. Like, regardless of the situation, like, we have to make the best of it, and we got to do what we got to do to get through it. And just, I mean, so that bond, that memory, although it was terrible, like, I will always have a special place, with the girls, with the community, just because of that instance.
So let's shift to something a little bit more happy, because that one's hard to even talk about on my end too. With your daughters going through the same school district and going where you played, not even just that they're going through the school that you've coached at. They're walking in your steps. They're playing on the same field your sister played on, right? Like this is big tradition there. How do the school traditions and the fact that your kids are going through that, what's the impact that has on you as a parent and a former student?
Yeah, I would definitely say pride is like the biggest thing. And I'm not saying that you can't be a high school coach somewhere that you've never, lived or been a part of. It's definitely something that you can take on and become a part of. But just knowing that, hey, I played every single high school game on that field. I spent hours, literal blood, sweat, and tears, to ultimately be fighting for the same goal, right? To win a state championship. Like that is the goal. To just see my daughters in that uniform and actually, so my oldest just started junior high ball, so she has on an actual Alto, uniform. She's playing on the field that I grew up on, so that was really neat to see last week. But just knowing, like, I know the traditions and they've grown up, seeing the traditions and seeing the support and just how big of a deal it really is. That's been really neat to watch.
I love it. Last season, so I know it was so emotional for you from stepping away, but I mean, you literally give everything, all of yourself to coaching. You train players all summer long with like, open
Literally.
practices, weight room. You mow and maintain that field. First of all, I don't even know if there are any coaches in the districts down here around Houston that have to mow their own fields. But let me tell you, you don't know what it's like until you're a small town coach and you're going, you're having your friends come visit and it's like, hold on, I got to go to the field, got to mow, right? I got to go
Literally.
move the
Yeah.
tarps because it rained, got to clean the tarps up,
Yeah,
mow
and that wasn't just in season either. That's
all year.
year round.
All year.
Year.
So Lauren was the mowing and lawn maintenance service for the fields. She was the bus driver for the girls for the tournaments and for the games. I mean, early morning practices, coming home so late at night. People outside the coaching world may not understand how much time coaches really put into the coaching process, but especially like when it's a small town and there's not a budget for all this other stuff. Like you are all of it, right? So what has it meant for you having the girls, your two girls in the dugouts, coming to morning practices, taking those bus rides too if they go on them? What does that mean to you as a mom?
Yeah, I mean, so my first year of coaching, my youngest was actually, let's see, 4 months old. So, like I said, my youngest doesn't know any different. Like, that's literally where she grew up. I mean, I have pictures of her before she could even walk, in a baby carrier, sitting in the dugout. I think hard work. I mean, the girls seeing that, hey, nothing is easy, and if you really want something, like, you've got to give it your all, and you can't always wait on somebody else to do it. So I feel like that was a biggie. Like, I could have, moped around and not gone up there on a Saturday and mowed, or not stayed up late, dragging the field before, or just whatever it is. Just them being able to see, like, hey, if you want something, like, it's going to take hard work. And like I said, you can't have excuses. You can't wait on someone else to do your job. You're going to get exactly what you put into something. So that was really cool. And like I said, my girls have so many sisters, quote unquote, of just 9 years of teams. They held them, they changed diapers, they fed, they, rode on the bus together. They literally did all the things. And that's something that I feel you cannot get anywhere else. There's no other job that you can literally take two little kids up to, stay in the office with you the whole time, have other people take care and ride buses, just all the things. So that's one huge part. And that was one of the hardest parts about getting out of that field, the field of work, is just knowing that I won't ever get that back again. But that really molded them. And I feel like that will have a lot to do with their success in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, they grew up, they know the game of softball inside out and backwards again. So
For sure.
and, the girls are phenomenal already. So I can't wait to see how they progress. The relationships that you've built with those 9 years of players. And I know you've been to weddings, you held the babies, you do all the things,
All
which
the
is
things.
amazing. And that's one of the best parts of coaching, I think, is seeing your kids grow up and getting to have that relationship with them. But talk about the relationships you built with your players and how that plays such an important role in your team's success.
Yeah, like I said, being a coach is so much more than being a coach. You're a mom, you're a dad, you're a teacher, you're a nurse, anything and everything is what it takes to be a coach. If you're in it to just be a coach, then you're in it for the wrong reasons. And honestly, you probably won't be successful at it. I just actually saw in a memory that I was looking at one of my seniors. They had a big write up in the newspaper and they asked her, who was your role model and why? And she wrote in there, she said, my role model is Coach Reid, my high school softball coach. She pushed me hard every day to be the best I could be. She wanted the best for me, just like my parents. And that was so eye-opening because, again, you don't realize how much your players are watching outside of just the fields, just the practices, just the games. They see how you respond to problems. What are your solutions? How do you get by? Because coaches have bad days too, right? So not letting them see me have bad days, or when I do have bad days, showing them that, hey, that doesn't mean that, I can act a different way, or, I may not agree with a call, but like just them seeing, how to act, and as not just a coach, as a woman, as a mom, as everything in between. And just last week, I had lunch with, like I said, one of my former players, and that was so nice just to catch up. So yes, they were my players in the sense when I coached them, but now, they are friends. I have 20-year-old former players now. They literally are friends that I can hang out with and see, and it's so fun.
That is amazing. I think that's one of the coolest dynamics ever, is that the growth, and as they become adults and you get to, be the.
And I will say it's so funny now because it's happened so many times. Getting on to girls that getting on to anyone is hard, but it's really hard to discipline kids that you love. And so that tough love that they questioned during the seasons, and they questioned, all 4 years of their career, like, why? I can't believe you'd say this. I can't believe you'd do this, blah, blah, blah. I've had so many come to me now, like, I know why you said that. I know why you did that. Like, I respect you. And I wish back then I could have, known what I know now. Just, it's because you loved me. It's because you cared.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. How did you prepare for your last home game?
well, you want me to cry? Are we starting the crying thing now?
No, I don't want you to cry, but I do. I think we all, okay, so Stacy and I talk about with our mindset stuff with our kids that, we're working with through SPAN. It's like eventually the game ends.
Eventually
Where you're the player. Eventually the game ends where you're the player, and your athlete days may be over or it looks different. But we now doing this coaching podcast series, I'm like, man, eventually it ends for us as coaches too,
Yeah.
like my coaching ended
So,
when I had kids. Yours continued, like you thrived through it. But yeah.
Yeah, so there was two different kind of aspects to the last game per se. So, with anything in life, you say you never know when something's going to end. Well, when you are a coach and you have a set schedule, like I knew from the time my schedule was set when my last game was. And when I tell you I counted down, I watched the days go by. And I don't know that there was a day of my last season that I wasn't upset, that I didn't cry. And I think that's when it comes into play, like how you take stuff for granted. Like, and I told my girls this all the time. Like, one day you're gonna have your last practice. One day you're gonna put on your cleats for the last time. Everything ends at some point, but knowing exactly when it was, it could have been a good thing. It could have been a bad thing, just however you looked at it. But I'll never forget that day because I took off. I didn't take off. I was at work, but I told, my principal, hey, I'm here, but I'm not here. Like, I want to spend every single second of this last home game, like, on my field. So instead of the rush, annoyed because it was hot, that I'm having to mow, I'm having to drag, I embraced it and I took my time, and I loved it. It was hard. That was also obviously senior night, so you're having to prepare speeches to give to them that are already emotional, but at the same time, like, knowing, hey, this is my senior night, more or less. This is literally my last time to ever line this field. It's my last time to, call a play, to whatever it might be. So it was definitely hard, but at the same time, I had a grateful heart, and I was just so thankful and proud and honored and blessed to know that I did have 9 fantastic years there, and there's absolutely nothing that I would do go back and not do that. It was all worth it. But on the other hand, so outside of my last home game, once you get in the playoff realm, like, it's you win or you lose. You win, you keep going forward. You lose, you go home. So after that, that's when it became more emotional, because I knew that at any day could have been my last practice, any game could have been my last game. So I specifically remember that last game, we were down quite a few points. Like, it became reality that, hey, this is going to be it. And I wish somebody had a video of me. You probably wouldn't have laughed, and I could laugh now, but I think I was having a panic attack on third base coaching, because my breathing was like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my God, I hope nobody's watching me, because I know I look crazy. But just knowing at that point, like, this is it. I'm done. Whether or not it was my choice or not doesn't make it any easier. It didn't make it any easier knowing that I was stepping away. And so I feel like some people, kind of have a narrative that's not correct. They think that just because I was ready to step away, that it was easy. And it was literally the absolute hardest decision I've ever made. And I mean, still every single day I'm, checking in on the girls, I'm watching the games, and I'm thinking, dang, I loved my time there. And would I go back and change my decision? I would not. But I still love it, and I still miss it, and I'm still just as, not engaged,
You're passionate.
just totally wrapped up around it.
Yeah. I mean, that's never going to fade for you, for sure.
No, never.
Especially with you still coaching. I mean, your coach, I didn't even bring this up, but your team that the girls are on, that you coach outside of here, you've brought them to win the Texas. Explain that. They've won the World Series here in Texas, the state series
Yeah,
has gone on.
well, it was actually and I can't take all the credit for that. Like I said, my husband's helped coach. We have, so many parents who have stepped up. But like I said, we knew all along that we had to get these girls to a higher level. And to do that, like, we had to step up and be that. So this past year, so it was our 12U, we actually went 15. We didn't lose a game through our district, our regional, our state. And then we went on to win the World Series. And that was just an awesome experience for not only the girls, the coaches, the parents, the whole community. I mean, it was a huge deal. And these games were live broadcasted, and they had, commentators. And that was just so cool to go back and watch, and know that we'll always have those memories, even outside of in the game. Like, we have them to go back and watch. So it was just really cool. And it's really cool to be a part of that.
I love it. We watched one that first summer by the pool at my parents' house in Connecticut. And my dad was like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "I'm watching the girls. They're playing. They're representing the state of Texas." I mean, just it's such a great experience. And it just, again, speaks to your heart, as this is a passion for you. Like, softball is a passion. And so I love it.
For sure.
My last question for you is probably going to be the hardest. I do know that. But what's one of the biggest moments that has stood out to you as a coach, either on or off the field?
Yeah, that's not just a one answer question again. I wouldn't say there's any one moment that defines that or that I could answer. But I feel like I could say one of the biggest impacts for sure was realizing that winning was more than on the scoreboard.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're a high school coach, like, your job is to win games. That's why you're hired.
Mm-hmm.
So my first couple of years, that was my focus. Like, I've got to win games. Our score has to be higher. That was the win. And then slowly I started realizing that wasn't winning. So really, the small wins, the girls getting their first hit, the girls being able to play on varsity that, had never been to that level, or, just watching the growth of your athletes overall. So really just seeing that winning, like I said, was more than on the scoreboard. It was the relationships, with the girls, with the parents, just seeing people so happy and accomplishing, goals that they had set. And I guess I can say, specific to that, the last 3 years of coaching, I decided, like, hey, I want you to set a goal. So every single girl on our team at the beginning of the year set a personal goal that was measurable, attainable, and then we set a team goal. And so that really took the focus off not just winning the game, but like, hey, what am I trying to accomplish? What are the goals? So yeah, we might not have won a state championship, but every single goal that was hung up in our locker room had a check on it. So to me, like, that was a win. That was even better,
Love that. I think all coaches should do that. Get to know your players, build those relationships, figure out what are their goals, help them set obtainable, measurable goals as a coach. But I love the idea of posting them up in the locker room. Absolutely.
And I told them every day when you come in, you might be having a good day, you might be having a day, but hey, that's the goal you set. And no matter your attitude, no matter your mood, wherever you are in life, like, hey, that's what I set for myself. I'm going to see it and I'm going to go out on that field and that's what I'm going to try to do.
So good. So good. I love that. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your perspective and your experience with us. It's so clear, I think, to everyone that is listening in that, when schools and communities work together to support the athletes and the coaches, then the student athletes don't just grow as players, but they're growing as leaders and people on and off the field. And I cannot wait to see what you do with your travel league and with Texas Hold'em over the years. I do have a feeling that you're going to grace us with your presence on the field as a high school coach again one day, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm not giving up hope on that. Okay.
I don't think anyone is, but
thank you for coming on.
Yes, I appreciate it and had so much fun.
Stay tuned for future podcasts where we will bring on exciting guests in the sports world, highlight spotlight coaches, athletic directors, former and current collegiate and professional sports players, sports dietitians, psychologists, and more. What you eat and how you think can transform your athletic performance and overall well-being. Whether you're an athlete, coach, or fitness enthusiast looking to gain that mental edge and optimize your health, this podcast is for you. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media channels for more exclusive content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X at @span_athletics. Until next time, stay faithful, stay fueled, and remain focused on your goals.